Hey, look, somebody shrunk my order of comic books. Hey there, today I have an unboxing video for you, and in this video I'm going to take a look at an order that I placed from Midtown Comics, and this is the actual order, and it's quite thin. I've never had an order this small before. I'm used to the kind of larger sized cardboard box that they ship in. And I have complained about it in the past, where the way that the books are wrapped inside with that paper bag from Midtown, the books will slide around. And even though there's bubble wrap in there, it's not secure in the wrap. And oftentimes the corners of the books are sliding and smacking into the bubble wrap. And you'll often get some damaged books. Not always, but sometimes. And I placed a smaller order. My wish list was kind of popping off, and there was one rather expensive book that I wanted to grab, and picked out a few books around it to round out the order, make sure I unlock free shipping, and place the order. And then when it arrived, I was like, where is this from? This is did I get it? Did I win a slab, or what is this? And I saw it was Midtown. Like, oh, I've never opened a package like this before from Midtown. So I'm very curious to see the difference between that larger, I would say maybe 12 to 20 book type order, and that's a more typical order that I would place from Midtown. So in this smaller order, I'm going to take a look at the packaging, share that with you, and kind of see how they deal with a smaller order, and then potentially grade a couple of these books as well. Like I said, there was one that was a bit more expensive, and then there was another wish list item that popped, but it didn't pop in near mint. It popped in a lesser grade. And to me, that's interesting. I always want to see from different places how they grade, and then build that formula and build that trust to understand, do they undergrade, do they overgrade, so that you don't continue to either make the same mistakes buying non-near mint books, or if there are opportunities to actually get higher grade books because they're undergraded. So let's open this box of comics, take a look, grade a couple of these, and then at the very end, we'll look at the order analysis to see what I paid, and see if maybe I was maybe haunted from past FOMO, and see if I got a good deal or not. So let's take a look. All right, here we go. This is that order from Midtown Comics. It's a 7-book order in that smaller packaging. So let's go ahead and open it up. All right, so it's a Gemini mailer type shipping box in a way, or a Uline mailer. I'm hoping, looking at the corners here, make sure that they're not wrapped. There it is, that paper bag. It is the only thing that protects your comics from Midtown, is that lovely paper bag. They will not use bubble wrap. So let's see. This paper bag is indestructible. You cannot destroy it at all. Oops, look at that. All right, so the good news is they did use a rigid top holder for that bigger book. So I like that they do recognize that, and I'll maybe save that one for last. All right, so let's go through the books I did pick up here. We have Moon Knight #4, Steve McNiven, cover art. Love this with Tigra on there. Really interesting new Moon Knight run that's happening right now. And this was a filler book for me. Didn't remember pre-ordering this book and wanted to grab it. No real key or anything super interesting here, but just wanted to continue my run of Moon Knight. All right, now this was one of those wish list items. This is Strange Academy #1. And this is the J. Scott Campbell edition. I do have this slabbed in a 9.8. In fact, I just replaced it with a Moon Knight book on the wall back here. This is my second copy, and it's interesting to me because it was marked in fine condition. So And this is what I would consider to be a modern book. I think everybody would. And I say that because I'm trying to compare this book to maybe something that you would get at Mile High Comics in terms of what they would consider to be fine. And a 6.0 from Mile High probably has a lot of spine stress, color breaking spine ticks. So I was curious to buy this from Midtown to figure out why is this one marked in fine condition. So let's take a look. First thing I would notice is it has severe like color rub or streaking right there along the side. So that's going to pull the grade down from a 9.8 straight away, like right in here and here and here. So you're already looking at kind of a 9.4 just from the color rub. You could argue maybe 9.6, but we're already working with the 9.4 book. From a spine and structure perspective, looks really good. Corner, very acceptable. Minor spine splitting there, but really not bad at all. I mean, certainly things that you would see in a typical modern book. Again, just very, very slight spine splitting there. But again, nothing out of the ordinary. So, looks like a really strong 9.4, 9.2, depending on the severity of the color rub on the back. So why is this book in fine condition? Looks okay up there. Very, very sharp. And I just found out why right in here. So that is this is probably an item that got returned. So it was damaged. And then Midtown said, well, we can give you a discount or you can return it. And somebody returned it. That corner's okay. Not bad. That is extremely pressable. So that can come out in a press. You probably need to attack it with some humidity. But what a great book. So I could probably improve this up to at least a 9.2 with that color rub. So that's the main issue there. But, to get this book the way it is for the amount that I paid, I still feel like I got a deal. I'm a big believer in Strange Academy. The J.S. Campbell version is the only version I have slabbed in a 9.8. I have cover A, but I think it came back in a 9.4, maybe even a 9.2. And then the other one I have a tear on the page. So I think that one's even under a 9. So I have a pretty substantial collection of all the Strange Academy issues, but only a small handful of number 1. And so I wanted to get another one. So not too bad. I think that maybe that's something to consider if you see some maybe bigger books on Midtown that are listed in fine or very fine. Those could be those return items, but sometimes the damage is just too severe and they can't be pressed. But I would say that this is pretty much like your Midtown special. You get it, and it's like a little bit of color rub, and one corner has pretty severe impact damage. So it's nothing out of the ordinary that you would see from Midtown, and you just have to decide whether or not you press that out. Now, I can't return that item because it's marked in fine condition. If it was near mint, then it would be a candidate. And I'm betting the person that returned it probably just saw all that color rub on the back and just said, forget it. It's just not the 9.8 candidate, not worth the trouble. Here's Thor God of Thunder number 1. This is the Jason Aaron run. This is, I think, one of the runs, if not the run, that Thor Love and Thunder is going to pull from. We know from the trailer, we knew before the trailer, but the trailer confirmed Jane Foster as Thor. So there's kind of a couple of storylines that I think are going to make up this movie. And one of the storylines is Gore the God Butcher, and really pulling a lot from this Jason Aaron written run here. So this book is still available on Midtown. I'll confirm the price. I think it's somewhere between, $10, $12. Great Assad Ribic cover here, and love it. So I think this is my second copy. Got it in near mint. And I don't really see... Let's look at this one real quick in terms of near mint, just to see if there's any additional impact damage. Because I just assumed that Strange Academy was already damaged. So Little minor spine ticks, but again, that's to be expected. There's a little bit of corner wear, so we're probably in 9/6 territory. But I don't see any impact damage in transit. It's a little wavy, so I would certainly press this book. I could probably press out these little dings here. They may look like color breaking. They're not. This is the only color breaking issue that I see down here in the corner. But it's definitely like waved. It feels like a book that maybe sat out on a display or on a shelf, and it just kind of over time with gravity just started to fold. But it's a pressing candidate, so I probably would give this like a 9.6 with the ability to press it out. So not bad. Here's the Death of Doctor Strange #1. This is the Kari Andrews cover, regular cover A. Love that artist. Death of Doctor Strange was not a series that I added to my pull list, and was just kind of going back and filling in the run there. But really, really like the Kari Andrews art with Doctor Strange here on the cover. And again, just kind of inspecting it, I don't see any impact damage anywhere, so looks pretty good. Just pretty standard cover price book there. This book I got 2 copies of. This is Deadpool #1 with Elsa Bloodstone on the cover. And this is a Greg Land cover. This is the variant cover F. I think I've talked about Elsa in the past. I feel like there's always some news about her. Like, right any moment now, there's going to be an announcement or a casting for Elsa Bloodstone, and she's going to be in some Marvel property in live action. And I've been hearing that for probably almost 3 years now. And I'm not exaggerating. It feels like every week there's either some hype man or speculator or app or bleeding cool article news, like you never know but where it's coming from, but somebody is constantly pushing Elsa Bloodstone. There's such a huge investment in the community in her that they're just waiting to say I told you so. And I've talked about this before. Sometimes you have to follow along. Sometimes you have to get some of her books. I don't have her first appearance, and so what I try and do is just grab some other books with her. I think this is a fun and interesting cover. Do I think she's going to be in Deadpool 3? No. But I think it's just a fun Elsa Bloodstone cover. And Midtown had it for cover price, so I thought it was worthwhile to pick up. Now, the big sort of wish list alert FOMO book item here that I did get, Midtown did send it in this sort of rigid holder here, which is great. And this book was listed in near mint, not a fine condition book. So I'm going to slide it out of the top holder here, and we'll take a look and see. And it is Venom #9. So this, and you could see if it was not shipped with that top holder, we'd be talking about corner damage all day. Somehow, I think it survived that. But this is a book that we're going to take out and grade. This is the first appearance of Dylan Brock. I have Venom 9, I think, a variant, but not the cover A. It's sort of like a FOMO ghost from the past that just sort of popped up out of nowhere. A lot of times I add things to my wish list and figure this book will never show up again. But I do it anyway. So I think my advice to you is wish list everything because you just never know. And all of the big places that I buy from, Atomic Avenue, Mile High Comics, My Comic Shop, and certainly Midtown, they all have some sort of wish list feature. I highly recommend using it. Sometimes it's annoying. Midtown's pretty easy. You just sign in and click a button. Other places want you to select, like, well, what condition, do you want to add to your wish list? And it can get a little tedious, I must admit, but I think the payoff is worth it. So let's look at this book. This is a near mint book. Again, it was, I think I paid fair market value, but the reason I jumped on it is because I've said this before, when Midtown is good, they're very good. And when they're bad, they're terrible. And this has the potential here, as we examine it, to be very good. Not very good condition. It could be a 9.8 candidate here as we look at it. Super sharp spine, corners look great, bottom, no impact damage on that corner that had the little fold in the bag. Nothing that I could see here on the outer edge. Looks really, really nice and sharp. And this corner, so from the front cover, it looks like a 9.8 candidate, so let's turn it over. There is some color rub, unfortunately, that, again, will happen here. So that probably just dropped it into the 9.6 territory for the color rub. And again, I don't think it says severe as Strange Academy, so I'm not going to ding it and put it all the way down to 9.4, but this is a 9.6. It doesn't, I don't think it needs to be pressed. There is a slight crease there that you could just be extra and try and get that out. A quick press should take care of that. So, yeah, didn't get the 9.8 on that one, but from a fair market value perspective, and the book being what I think a 9.6, I think that was a good pickup. I think if you're in on Venom right now with Dylan Brock, then you have to have his first appearance. This was a book that I missed out on. I didn't miss out on it. I kind of came back into the hobby right around this time, and just as I was trying to get my bearings and figure out what people were into, it was just a book that I just didn't. I didn't realize its importance or its significance yet, so I had to go back and grab it here. Great Ryan Stegman cover. I'm going to get this put into a fullback, get the grade down. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at the order analysis and see how I did. All right, here are the order details from this order from Midtown Comics. I did end up grading the books as well. It was an order I placed April 11th, 2022 for a total of $130.15. So just to see if my math is correct, what I did is I did unlock free shipping. You have to pay $11.29 tax. And I distributed the tax across each book so that the total added up to $130.15. So I went ahead and graded these books and put the grades in here. Got 198, which was one of the two Deadpool number ones with Elsa Bloodstone on the cover. I want to show you this. So this is Moon Knight 4. I'll go full screen here for a second. And I'm going through the book, just checking it out, and I'm opening the pages, and then all of a sudden I get to like page 6 or 7. And there's a giant hole in the middle. There, you can see me. Hello. Crazy. The book is probably, I mean, two of the books had, it's like a, whatever you call, like a fingernail push at the bottom, right around here, like somebody jammed their finger on the bottom of the book, or like a thumb press. I forget what those are called. But yeah, I'm like, what do I do with that? So I contacted Midtown. I'm waiting for a response to see. I mean, I don't know what to do about it. I paid, let's see, $5.20. I mean, I would have much rather had like early 90s McFarlane Spider-Man for $5 than that nonsense. So I'm expecting a response to say, please send photos, describe the thing in more detail. I doubt they're going to offer me a full refund of my $5. They'll typically give you like 20% back. It's essentially a reader copy. I put it as a 6.0. I did a little bit of research on interior page tears, and if there's like a 1/2 to 1 inch tear on one of the pages, maybe as somebody was reading it and it just sort of ripped, I think you can even get away with it. Like a 9.4 is still a 9.4 with an interior tear. But in this case, it's a modern book with a giant hole. It's like a 2 to 3 inch hole in the middle of the page. So that was bizarre. So basically, this order from Midtown is a complete mess. Uh, and it just happens sometimes, and it's very bizarre. Uh, I'm glad the Venom #9 didn't have any significant issues like that, because that would have been a real bummer. But let's look at the grades here. So one book got a 9.8. The other Deadpool was close, but it just had a couple of those things that I think there was some corner fraying that ended up breaking color. Death of Doctor Strange. This had the same issue as Moon Knight, not the hole punch in the middle, but the little thumb press at the bottom. It really, you can kind of tell on the bottom and the top. It's just like where somebody mishandled the book. Thor God of Thunder, I think I gave a 9.4. I think it can be pressed. Could it be pressed into a 9.8? Don't know, but I think it can get a grade bump into a 9.6. And then the Venom #9, as I said before, I gave it a 9.6. I don't think it could or should be pressed at this point. It has a little bit of color rub. That ain't coming out in the press, and it's not going to, even if it's pristine with the color rub, it's not going to get a 9.8. So how did I do overall? My total cost at $130.15 from a raw book value perspective. So if I'm putting something, if I put this entire order on eBay and like, you get all these books as is, right? Like no questions asked. First of all, that's a red flag. Nobody's going to give you fair market value for books listed as is. And I wouldn't do that anyway. But from a raw value perspective, I gained $36.25. This is all due to that Strange Academy pickup in fine condition. I paid $25.01 for that book. It has a current fair market value of around $80 raw. That's pretty good. And I think it's because most people don't think that there's a copy beat up as bad as the one I got from Midtown. So there is that. But I do feel like it can be pressed. It has a CGC value even in a 7.5 at $17. So if we're looking at CGC and sending them in, obviously this would be a significant loss because I'm paying all of that money to get a $17 slab. But if it could be pressed up into the low 9s or mid 9s, then I think it's a different story. Everything else was a loss. The Deadpool one with Elsa Bloodstone in a 9.8, it's actually worth $50. So there was an $11.77 value add there if I were to send it into CGC. So these are all the grades. Just from from the ceiling, like if it's like, what were you looking for here? You know that Strange Academy was fine, but just kind of looking at like why these books in particular were targeted, I'm going to flip all these to 9.8. And then you can see here that they all have some CGC value. That Thor God of Thunder at 126, really not bad for a $13 investment, $13 investment / gamble, I guess. The Venom #9, not as valuable as you would think, or at least I thought in a 9.8, $166 for Still and Brock. So, that is something that maybe I would look at just seeing if I could snipe the slab in an auction for a little bit less than that. $160 when you're talking about a raw book being $53 with CGC fees. If you want that guaranteed 9.8, this is kind of where I'm at, where I'm trying to figure out, like, should I just turn the corner and look at buying slabs directly instead of trying this whole gambling nonsense with these types of orders? Because this order was a complete mess. The 3 books that I was really hoping that I could get kind of at a steal or at a steep discount, Strange Academy 1. Obviously, we talked about the defects there. Thor God of Thunder looked like it was sitting on a shelf and just kind of fell over itself. And then the Venom 9 with the color rub. So it didn't quite work out here. But from a fair market value perspective, it wasn't too far off. And that Moon Knight book with the hole right in the middle of the page, ridiculous. So this is kind of where I'm at. So I just had an unboxing video where I showed you books that I sent into CGC. And I really trust my grading skills, and I missed. So now I'm starting to question myself. I'm starting to question my methods. And I understand why people pay a premium for graded books. What I want to do at this point is start to really look at what it costs to get a book graded, make sure my numbers are accurate, and then start to do some analysis where it may make sense at this point when you think around about turnaround times, pressing, etc. Are the 9.8 slabbed books, CGC, CBCS, or whatever you want to use for your service, are those more valuable now than ever? Even if the book itself is maybe not that big of a key or that significant, is the fact that the book is encased in the slab, you kind of, you kind of make fun of it after a while. You're like, are you paying for the comic book or are you paying for the plastic and are you paying for the label? I, I, I think the plastic and the label has value now. Um, I'm just kind of thinking about the last order I had where it was 4 months, and I was certain when I sent those books in that the three or four that did not get a 9.8 were 9.8s. And now that they're not, it's disappointing. So I am starting to shift a little bit, not like a full shift, but I am starting to embrace and entertain paying more attention to CGC 9.8s or just CGC graded high grade books, and tracking auctions across Heritage and eBay instead of dealing with raws. And this is something I think I'm going to probably talk about in more detail moving forward, where I just wonder if is it really worth the hassle? And what is that percentage now? What is the percent? What is the markup percentage of getting that guaranteed 9.8? Uh, I find a lot of personal satisfaction of buying raw books, pressing them, fixing them up, sending them in, being right. That's another big thing. Like when I hold up that slab and say, I bought this book raw, I graded it myself, I sent it in, I thought it was a 9.8, I got it back a 9.8, and there's a great sense of satisfaction where you feel like I'm a legitimate comic book collector. I know what I'm doing. If you're buying just the slabs as a 9.8, it's like you have to pay a fee for someone else being right. So I'll stop there. I appreciate you watching this and hanging out. Um, this is going to really screw with the Midtown numbers and make me think about when these larger books like Venom 9 really pop on your wish list. It's like, ugh, are they popping? Has somebody looked at it at Midtown and said, this isn't a 9.8, let's just put it back out there in inventory. Someone will buy it in near mint. And again, near mint is 9.4. So to get Venom 9 in a 9.6, I would say that, that was technically a win for me, but it wasn't. I was hoping for the 9.8. So there you go. I hope you enjoy this. Hope you enjoy the conversation too. Happy collecting, and see you next time.